Hi there, this is the Brightmoor Community Greenhouse. When you first come in the door here, you'll see our sign-in board here, information about what's going on in the greenhouse. We've got invoices for individuals and farms. It's really important that you fill these out and that you pay. Once you fill this out, actually open up the clipboard. There's a little slot at the bottom here, and put it in here. This is where your filled out invoice will be. As you can see, there's a few boxes on here. You might come back a second time, you might come back a third, fourth, fifth time. Each time you come back, just find your invoice here in the clipboard and just fill it out again. That'll save some paper and make it easier to keep track of everything. We have a sign-in sheet up here. This is obviously a temporary one, but we'd prefer if you could write your name, date, and the total number of trays added. This is just so at a quick glance, when we come in to check in on everything, we see that someone has either taken out trays or brought in trays. The number of trays you're taking is the number of trays you're going to take from these stacks here. We've got 128 cell trays, and we've got 72 cell trays. You're also going to want to take one of these open trays. These give the plug trays some support, help us move them around the greenhouse, and just make everything easier. This setup here for the carrying tray and the plug is $2, so you'll multiply that times the number of trays that you're taking. So over here is our potting soil setup. I recommend that you don't use both trays together when you're filling them, because a lot of potting soil gets in this tray and it just kind of is waste. So take the plug tray, or the pots if you're using pots. Scoop it up, fill this. You don't want to pack it very tight. That's going to just make the plugs harder to remove later. So spread this out, wipe off the excess. You pretty much want it flat. You go ahead and set that inside of the carrying tray, and then carry this over to the watering station where we're going to moisten the soil before we actually seed. All right, we've got all our trays filled up here, and on the watering table, we've got 18 here. Over here, we've got our watering system. It looks a little complicated. The only one you really need to worry about, though, is this dial timer here. This dial timer you're gonna set to about 15 minutes, and that's gonna kick the sprinklers on. While your trays are being watered in, you can come back over here to the trays and grab a pack of tags. For us, we've got 18 trays, so we're going to take 18 tags. Grab the marker, make sure you put the marker back when you're done for the next person, and we'll fill these out with the type of plant that we're growing, the date that we've planted it, and then the name on the back. Once your trays have all been watered in, we like to just seed them and label them right here, and that's what we've done. You can run the water again for a few minutes depending on how wet your soil was. Maybe it didn't get it quite enough the first time around. That'll help push the seeds down a little bit as well. Then you can take these and take them straight over to the germination chamber. Slides open. Make sure your tags don't get caught too much on the shelves. They will tend to sometimes get knocked out, and then you can't figure out what's what. We'll slide that in. Make sure the door is shut firmly. If you're bringing in your own plants to the greenhouse and you're not germinating them, just go ahead and bring them straight out to the tables here. Ideally, you actually will germinate them at home, because the germination chamber is the choke point for the greenhouse. And so if you can germinate them in a warm spot at your house, that saves a little bit of space here and lets you just move them straight onto the tables. When you're ready to pick them up, you put them out in the garden. You can just come in as long as you've paid up and everything is good on the invoice. Take the plants out. Note on the sign-in sheet that, or sign-out sheet in this case, that you've taken your plants, because we want to know that they went to the right person, and take them home and plant them.